This presentation is a combination of results from a study that USTA did on top juniors who eventually made it into the pro ranks, and a collection of subjects that Southern parents and players have focused on throughout the years. It is important parents continue to learn because they play an important role in their child's tennis development and enjoyment. The USTA has examined the role parents played in the development of top junior players who became professionals. Southern tennis in our states have seen the same issues recur for years. We are seeing an escalation in poor sportsmanship from both players and parents. In this presentation, we want to address sportsmanship issues and get your help to work with your children to bring honor and respect back to our sport. What will be presented today is the results of this research and hits on the high points of the questions asked over the years. We know this for sure. As a parent, you need to be involved for your child to have a great tennis experience. The type of involvement is what we will focus on today. In this session, we want to identify what you and your player want from junior tennis, to examine your tennis parenting behaviors, to identify effective junior tennis parenting practices, to address sportsmanship issues and practices, and to provide a few basic rules regarding tennis play in the Southern section. So, what do you and your player want from junior tennis? What do you as a parent want from your child's junior tennis experience? And what do you think your child wants from his or her junior tennis experience? General objectives for junior tennis participation include physical, social, and psychological development, making it fun, and, of course, winning and rankings. Very few players make it to the top, and that's okay. What is important is that they have a healthy tennis experience. The parenting do's and don'ts come from focus groups, a survey with junior tennis coaches, and interviews with former junior tennis players playing professional events now, their parents, and their coaches. Research shows that kids under the age of 12 really listen to their parents. After age 12, they tend to listen to coaches and peers. Holding emotionally intelligent tennis discussions means, according to junior tennis players, parents, and coaches, saying the right things at the right times. Avoid talking about tennis too often at home. Set limits as to how often you will talk about tennis. Have discussions about other things in your child's life besides tennis. In addition, give your child some time after matches to recover and reflect before talking about the match. Several hours is not too much time, according to one junior tennis coach we interviewed. Focusing the majority of conversations at home on tennis may pressure your child because tennis takes over their life. They may perceive an overimportance on tennis. Talking about tennis is great. So is talking about other aspects of the child's and family's life. For the most part, save the instruction for the court. Criticizing your child or being negative will not help create a good learning experience. The more you focus on what your child is not doing well, the more difficult your relationship may become. Keep the pressure off by focusing on what your child is doing well. Be encouraging, and allow your coach to handle how to help your child improve. Remaining emotionally controlled at courtside is a key that all players interviewed talked about. Children look to their parents for approval. Therefore, you need to learn the body language and emotional control of an expert coach. It's okay to help your child prepare for practices and matches. However, over time, you want to put the responsibility on your child to prepare their equipment, call hitting partners, sign in at tournaments, etc. Obviously, at a young age, players need more assistance. Progressively handing over more responsibility makes the transition to the elite years smoother. As Billie Jean King said, don't exert pressure to win, but exert pressure to practice. Holding realistic expectations means keeping in perspective that your child is not perfect. It also refers to recognizing and understanding how talented your child is. Knowing that talent is a difficult thing to assess, and how good they may be. It is better to expect effort and focus from your child than winning matches, because winning matches is not totally under their control. According to interviews, having a stable home life is important to the development of your child in tennis. The child should have a stable routine at home that provides security. Think long and hard before breaking up the nuclear family to move to a tennis academy. Interviews with junior coaches revealed that it's possible to develop into an elite junior player without going to an academy. And leaving part of the family behind to move to an academy does not create a good family situation. Tennis is an expensive sport, so it's easy to expect a return in wins, higher rankings, college scholarships. This can happen unintentionally because of your desire for your child to succeed. The problem is when your child recognizes this, creating pressure to provide the outcome you're looking for. Remember, your child wants to please you. It is best to provide the opportunity to play tennis and emphasize to them that they play for their own reasons. And rarely talk about the investment you're making financially or just personal effort and time. Research shows that top junior players have played more than one sport prior to age 12. Playing more than just tennis helps mentally, physically, and emotionally. Team sports are great. Pushing your child to get out of bed and go to practice is a good behavior. Eventually, the child has to be self-motivated. This self-motivation is best facilitated by helping your child fall in love with tennis and keeping it fun while developing. Always encourage your child to view competition as an opportunity to challenge their skills. Avoiding players or tournaments to protect a ranking, dodging competition, does not teach how to be a tough competitor and may develop a fear of failure. Also, we learned from junior tennis coaches that parents sometimes overreact to less favorable draws and make their child doubt their ability to be successful. Never undermine your child's self-confidence. Model an active lifestyle and instill healthy eating habits. Then tennis can serve as a vehicle to healthy habits for a lifetime. We usually think that tennis teaches kids skills that they can use the rest of their lives. However, this doesn't happen by osmosis. You, the parent, must model and emphasize core values and behaviors that you deem important, and you want your child to gain from their tennis experience. Such core values as, if you are going to do it right, or you made the commitment, now you have to follow through, definitely apply to other life situations and can be taught through tennis. This happens quite frequently and unintentionally. You tell your child they can't lose because their opponent is awful. What happens if your child gets behind or it's a close match? They start to feel pressure because they are not supposed to lose. It's best to focus on the strengths of your child and always respect your child's opponent by finding ways to compliment them. Avoid being the parent who talks negatively about others to boost your child's confidence. Provide transportation, financial, and logistical support. Especially in the early years, you will have to help your child set up practice times, find quality coaching, and buy and maintain equipment. However, as the child becomes older, make them more responsible for tasks such as signing into tournaments, preparing equipment, and setting up practice partners. For the first match, there are registration procedures. Players may get lost, so early prep is valuable. Just being on site mentally, getting ready to play is extremely important. Courts may be open and opponents ready to go, so a match may start early to help the tournament stay on schedule. Checking in means you're ready to play, not I have to change. The clock starts for your match when the match is called. If you're not ready when your match is called, you are subject to penalties for lateness. 1 game and loss of toss for up to 5 minutes, 2 games for 5 to 10 minutes, and 3 games and loss of toss for 10 to 15 minutes. After a player is late more than 15 minutes, they may be defaulted, but the referee may ask their opponent that is on site to wait an additional time to see if the match might be reinstated. If you're going to be late, call the tournament desk, but that may not release you from a penalty. It just won't hurt. The referee has the right to reinstate the match if given sufficient reason. That is a judgment call by the referee. What should you do if you are defaulted by the referee because you're late? You may appeal the default to the Tournament Appeals Committee, but you must do this immediately. Don't wait. It is your right, but if you are late and defaulted, it is their right to uphold the default. Cell phones or any other electronic communications device must be turned off when you're on the court. Texting is not allowed. Communication of any kind, whether audible, signaling, or any form from anybody may result in a player being penalized for coaching. Parents, no coaching. Even if you think you aren't coaching, give the officials no reason to think you may be offering help. Bathroom breaks may not be used for coaching by anyone, parent, coach, or friends. Players may take a bathroom break, but it must be for that purpose, and they must return to the court in a reasonable amount of time. Breaks should be taken at changeovers and set breaks. Parents should not talk to their child's opponent in any derogatory manner at all, period. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. When a scoring dispute arises, start by handling it quietly at the net between the players. Scoring disputes do occur at some point in the life of junior players. That's a fact, and it's part of the whole development process. That doesn't mean anyone is trying to cheat. It could be as innocent as two kids playing hard and getting caught up in the moment. Game scores can be confused, point totals can be confused, many things can get confused. If your child continues to be involved in matches with scoring disputes, it could be your child. So how should you handle scoring disputes? They should replay the disputed points. But the players can leave the court to get an official if they need help in resolving the issue. It is best if the coaches, parents, and spectators let the players work it out. In fact, that's the rule. There is no question when you know the score and your child is confused, it's painful. You and coaches need to teach that players can and should leave a court to get an official if a problem arises and cannot be settled among the players. Players may seek an official if there is a pattern of bad calls. Please remember to only instruct your child to get an official if there is a pattern. Again, parents, remember, let the players get an official. Players are responsible for their own match. This is part of growing up. Officials are at a site to make sure there is overall fair play. Junior tennis is not like the pros. There's not a full complement of officials, linesmen, chair umpires, etc. to watch every match. Junior tennis is in general unofficiated, with players responsible for their own calls and having a sense of fair play. Parents, be careful that you don't try to call lines from outside the court. Your angle is most likely not good for line calling. Let your child worry about what happens on the line calls. Do not assume your child's opponent is making bad calls either. Again, you can't see from outside the court. In fact, as a player, it's sometimes difficult to see lines in the heat of the moment. If there's a bad line call, don't assume the worst. Stalling is when a player unreasonably slows down play. Unless you're retrieving a stray ball, you shouldn't take longer than 20 seconds between points or 90 seconds on changeovers. If you believe your opponent is stalling, get an official. Whether it is scoring disputes, bad calls, or unfair opponents, this is all part of the character development a player needs to have in order to survive in the adult world. Many problems can be handled right at the tournament site. If there is an injustice done to your child in your mind, go first to the tournament referee. If your problem is with the tournament referee, then you may ask for an appeal to the Tournament Appeals Committee. If your problem is with the tournament referee, then you may appeal to the Tournament Appeals Committee. Many of the phone calls that are received in the USTA Southern Section office or state offices on Monday mornings after an event really should have been handled at the tournament site, and there's little the section or state offices can do once that moment has passed. However, there are incidents that occur that are not appropriate to be dealt with at the tournament site or may have escalated beyond what can be handled at the site. With those, the complaint or grievance must be put in writing and sent to Bill Izaki in the USTA Southern Section office. Or, if it is at a state level event, you should consult the appropriate person in each state office. The entire grievance process is outlined in the USTA Southern Section bylaws and can be found on www.sta.usta.com. Each state also has a grievance process that should be available for review on each state website. Many things can be avoided at the time a problem occurs. Remember, parents should not talk negatively to another child, and players, parents, and coaches should remain respectful to tournament officials. Tournament officials should be ever watchful of incidents that could escalate and jump on the problem immediately. As the USTA now shifts a greater focus on bringing 10 and unders into tennis, this will bring many parents and kids to tennis who have never played. This is all good, but we must remember that a 10 and under is still very impressionable. They look to their parents before anyone else to show them what is right and wrong. Therefore, parents must conduct themselves with the utmost sportsmanship. It is also important that parents keep an even keel on emotions, as often their behavior transcends to the behavior of the child. Many problems at 10 and under tournaments generally are a direct result of the actions of the parents. This is all about your child trying tennis and many other sports. This should be fun for all, so make it fun. Here are some 10 and under tennis don'ts. Don't ever call anyone a cheater, particularly your child's opponent. Don't hang on the fences. Step back and give the players room and respect. And remember, parents can't coach, talk, guide, or tell what to do, or anything else of any sort at any time. There are no exceptions. Before heading out to a tournament, review this list of 10 and under tennis equipment. Also, review the USTA's book, Positioning Youth Tennis for Success. Tennis is a very honorable game, a game of mutual respect between opponents. Our sport is guided by the code, and we as players should always respect the game and our opponents. Sportsmanship takes on many forms of behavior. Here are a few characteristics players should aspire to. When you're serving, call the score before every point. Keep your emotions in check. Congratulate your opponent on good shots. Graciously shake hands at the end of the match, win or lose. Have fun. Exemplary sportsmanship is expected of parents too. There's an etiquette and acceptable behavior. Remember, parents' behavior, if unsportsmanlike, can cause your child to be penalized. You are an adult and greatly influence your child's behavior. You should be above reproach at all times. Here are a few characteristics of good sportsmanship for parents. USTA Sports Science has developed a parenting behavior self-assessment checklist based upon research of parents of successful players. You can download this checklist from www.sta.usta.com. Then complete it as you think your child and your child's coach would from observing you in the tennis arena. So, how did you do? Remember, many parents do things unintentionally that could be assessed as negative parenting. The key is not just where you are, but what you do to improve. And even if you scored highly, by the end of this presentation, you should set several goals to improve, along with goal achievement strategies. Thank you, and congratulations on completing this presentation.